some more in-depth problems here in terms of solving trig equations. What we're looking at here now is we have a couple of different trig functions going on here, a cotangent and a cosine going on here. So I would almost look at it as, well, cotangent I'm going to call x. So that means I have an x here, well I have a 2x over here. Cosine I'll call that y. So make that y as cosine squared, so y squared. So essentially this is the type of equation I'm looking at. How would I solve something like this? Well, I would try to see, first of all, I want to get everything onto the same side of the equation. So I'm going to say, well, cotangent theta times cosine squared of theta. I'm going to subtract this 2 cotangent theta to bring it to the left and just set it equal to 0. So now what am I going to do? Well, notice I have a cotangent in both of these terms here, just like I would have an x in both terms if I was in a regular equation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out that cotangent. And what I'd be left with, I would have a cosine squared theta from the first term and a minus 2 from the second term, still equals 0. Now I have 2 individual factors that are multiplied together to equal 0. That means each one individually can equal 0. So cotangent theta equals 0 and cosine squared theta minus 2 equals 0. So now I'm going to solve each one of these. Well, again, I don't like cotangent. I want to change it to sine, cosine, or tangent. So I'm going to change it to tangent. By doing so, I need to flip from 0 over 1 to make it 1 over 0. So that means tangent of theta equals 1 over 0, or tangent is undefined. What values is tangent undefined? Well, tangent is y over x. To be undefined, my denominator is 0. So when is my x value equal to 0? Well, that happens when theta equals 90 degrees, and that happens when theta equals 270 degrees. That's when my x value is 0. So that's our answer for this part of the equation. Now we have another set that we can look at here. Over here we'll have cosine squared theta is equal to 2. When I bring that 2 over, we take the square root of both sides. So cosine of theta will equal plus or minus the square root of 2. When does cosine equal plus or minus the square root of 2? Well, it really never does. On your chart, at least, it doesn't look that way. And if we look here, the square root of 2 is about 1.4, which is more than 1. So that means that, well, since sine can only be between negative 1 and 1, this can never possibly happen. We get no solutions for that one. So right here, this is our only possible answer, 90 degrees and 270 degrees. Let's look at the other type of example. Same thing, we're going to start the same sort of way. I'm going to call secant, call x. So I have x squared plus 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. How would I solve a problem like that? Well, I would normally say, well, I have something equal to 0. Let me factor it and see if I can factor it. Well, I'm going to do the exact same thing here, except instead of x's, I have secant. So, what are factors of 2 that add to give me 3? 2 that add to give me 3, that would be 2 and 1. So, secant of theta plus 1 times secant of theta plus 2 is going to equal 0. Just like if we did it with the x's, it would be x plus 1 and x plus 2 as my factoring here. So, that means, again, when anything 2 factors equals 0, that means each one individually equals 0. Secant theta plus 1 equals 0. Secant theta plus 2 equals 0. What I'm going to do now is say, well, get them each solved. Secant theta equals negative 1. Secant is the same, or not the same as, it corresponds with cosine of theta, and I need to then flip it. Go from negative 1 over 1 and flip it, well, it's still going to be negative 1 over 1. That doesn't change anything. Same when we do it over here, this will be secant of theta equals negative 2. That means that cosine of theta will be, when I do a reciprocal here, that'll be negative 1 over 2. So now we need to see, well, when does this happen? When is cosine of theta equal negative 1? When is my x value on the unit circle equal negative 1? That's when theta equals 180 degrees. That's the only time that the x is equal to negative 1. Over here, when is cosine equal negative 1/2? Well, cosine on your chart equals 1/2 at 60 degrees. However, we want to see, well, what quadrants, again, is cosine, in this case, negative? Well, it's positive in 1 and 4, so we want to say it's negative in 2 and 3. So what's 60 degrees in quadrant 2? That's 120 degrees. What is 60 degrees in quadrant 3? That would be 180 plus 60, which is 240 degrees. 240 degrees. So in this case, we actually have 3 possible answers. 120, 180, and 240. And there are some problems that you'll have one answer, some with 2 or 3, and even a couple that could have 5 or 6 different angle values. So there's lots of different ways, lots of different possible answers you will get.